So, a few things that I think you should consider when going to Ireland. Tea, a lot of tea, have it for breakfast. They do drive on the left side of the road there, which is something you should remember if you are going to do this tour. You will have to drive yourself. There is no protected left turns. A lot of roundabouts. They have a lot of them. You can pass people even on the highway, and it's like you can pass people like coming into oncoming traffic past people, which is kind of weird. Pubs have good food. I think here in America, when we have bars and whatnot, it tends to be a lot of like finger food, like nachos, things that aren't really that good for you to go along with your beer. Pubs will actually have like a full kitchen and can serve you food. They will have their own menu. On the flip side of that, when you're being served, don't feel like your waiter is ignoring you just because they don't seem to like be attentive to you. The pacing there is just so much slower. Life is just a lot more relaxed, especially in the rural areas, and slower. So, you go sit down, they ask you what you want to drink, you tell them, they bring it out. They might not come back to you for another 10 minutes because they're letting you chat, they're letting you, have your drinks, look over the menu, take your time, So very slow. For the Irish people, having a meal is a long, enjoyable thing. Also, in Europe in general, your credit card. Their credit cards have chips on them. America is like one of the few industrialized first world countries that don't do this. And it's just another added protective feature so people can't steal your card. So there, you just slip your card into a little slot and it just gets read that quickly. They still do have the swipers, but a lot of places might not actually know how to do it because they haven't had to swipe cards in a while. They'd look at our credit card and be like, oh, why isn't the chip working? And we'd have to be like, no, you swipe it. And then there'd kind of be this face like, that's what that thing's for, right? And to that point, when you're at a restaurant eating and you do use your card to pay, usually in America, the waiter will take the credit card, go off somewhere. In Ireland, they see that you're going to pay with a card and they bring the swiper over, swipe the card in front of you, print all the receipts out in front of you, have you sign it in front of them, and that's how they do it. Bathrooms and restrooms aren't called that. Just say, where's the toilet? I need to use the toilet. Do you have a toilet? Because a restroom, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've understood is that a restroom is a place that has a shower, a bath, a toilet, a sink. So if you are at some kind of store and you say, oh, do you have a restroom? They're going to be like, no. Ireland doesn't have postal codes, which makes it difficult to get around. So one thing that was really hard for us getting around Ireland was that a lot of the little towns and the little cities don't really have street signs anywhere. What we ended up doing was using a combination of the GPS that we purchased from Dan Dooley, the rental car. It's at an extra $10 a day. And also my husband ended up going to Vodafone, which is like, I guess Ireland's version of, I would say like Cricket, and we ended up buying sort of an older Sony smartphone that has 4G LTE and I think even 5G. And we used that for Google Maps to get around. So, for example, when we were getting to Cabra Castle, we didn't have our Google phone yet. And so we called Cabra and we're like, where are y'all? And they basically said, well, get to King's Court, which is the closest city, and go down Main Street, and then you'll just see a sign and just follow that. And that's kind of, everyone kind of knows where everything is already, living in the country, and they don't really use streets. So when we talked to the concierge at Cabra Castle, she mentioned, figure out where you're trying to go, figure out the closest town to where you're trying to go, And every town usually has either a main street or a church street. And so if you can put that into your GPS, that town's main street or church street, then you can call wherever you're trying to get to and say, I'm on Main Street in front of whatever. How do I get to you from here? And then they'll give you turn left at the toy store, that sort of thing. And that's how everyone gets around. So if you're very anal about like knowing exactly where you are and the idea of being a wee bit lost frightens you, I suggest making sure to get a phone with Google Maps as soon as you land in Dublin. Ireland itself is just so green, so beautiful, and the people are very friendly. Something that I noticed there is, and it's something that I find a lot of African Americans here tend to do, is that people speak to you. So, there's this old adage with Black people that, you walk into a room, you address people, you speak, you say good morning, you say good afternoon, you say hello. That's like proper and good manners and all of that. In Ireland, they do that too. If you're walking down the street and someone kind of like makes eye contact with you, you should acknowledge them and address them. And they will do the same back to you. If you don't, it's kind of weird. And there's like this awkward moment. And I quickly picked up on that, which was really cool. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Have you ever been to Ireland? If you have, let me know what your trip was like and if you would go back. And I will see you when I see you.